cheese we yell a lot.
Okay, so unit 6.3a, and we are going to, up until now we've been simplifying, and today we are going to solve radical equations. So solve, the difference between solve and simplify is just, simplify means there's no equals, solve means that there is an equals sign. And radical is just this, the root, okay? It's technically called a radical, even though a lot of times we call it a root. And sometimes the handle number, remember if there's no handle number, then it's a 2. And if there is a handle number, then it's whatever number that is. So we are going to look at solving radical equations today. So obviously our instructions are going to be to solve. And for number 1, let's try solving. If I gave you x to the 4th equals 16. X to the 4th equals 16. So here, obviously, if we want to get the x by itself, so to undo something to the 4th power, you have to do the inverse operation of that. And the inverse operation of that is to take the 4th root. So we're going to put in the 4th root. Now, there's a trick here, though. Anytime if you introduce, so that means you put in, as in like the problem did not come with it. Sorry, I didn't zoom for you. If the problem did not come with a radical, okay, if you introduce the radical sign, you must, okay, like have to, put plus or minus in the next step. You have to put plus or minus in the next step. A little bit brighter. Okay. Unfortunately, though, there's another trick to this. Okay. Not only do you have to put plus or minus, but this trick or this rule is actually only for even handle numbers. So only on even handle numbers, you have to put plus or minus in the next step. So for this one, this is even. 4 is even. So like mainly just 2 and 4. Most of the time just 2 because we're not going to have that many that have 4. So automatically if you introduce the root, meaning if it didn't come with it to start with, you have to put plus or minus in the next step. So x equals, basically this root and this power go away. So we just get x equals plus or minus, and then what multiplied by itself 4 times gives you 16? 2, right. If you didn't know that in your head, you could break this down and got 4 and 4, 2 and 2. Remember, cross them out once you've broken them down. And then 2 and 2, and we'd get 4 exact things. They could come out, and then in your answer. So this actually has 2 answers, positive 2 and negative 2. So that is 2 different answers for the same question. Okay, along with that, you can also do basically exactly opposite of that. Okay, you can have something like you already have a root, so root 3x plus 10 equals 8. So automatically, if it's not in there, if it's not written in there, this is a handle number of 2. If you don't want to put the 2 in there, you don't have to, because remember, this is kind of like, it's just a given. If it's not written in there, we always assume that it's a 2. So to undo a square root, you have to do the opposite of that. So to undo a root, you're going to use a square. So remember, if you do it to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other side. What ends up happening here is these basically cancel each other out. Then we drop the root, so 3x plus 10 equals 8 squared is just 64. Do you have to write plus or minus on this? No, because you're squaring something. So anything squared is only positive. You can't get a negative by multiplying 2 positive things together. Then we just have to solve. So start by doing the easiest thing first. So subtract the 10 from both sides. Subtract the 10, you're going to get 3x equals 64 minus 10 is 54. Then to undo the 3, divide both sides by 3. Most of the time, almost always, you're going to get nice whole numbers, okay? This is 18. It's possible to get fractions, but most of these problems we've already worked out for you intentionally so that you'll get nice whole numbers. No goofy, weird fractions. And that's it. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try number 3. If I give you the problem, negative 2 root 24x plus 13, okay, and that's separate. The root is only over the 24x, plus 13 equals negative 11. So negative 2, root 24x plus 13 equals negative 11. So you always want to undo the easiest thing first. So this negative 2 is actually attached here by multiplication. Okay, so the easiest thing to undo is the addition. So start by taking the inverse operation, so negative 13. These go away, so we still have negative 2 multiplied by 24x. Sorry about the bell. It's a really long bell. Equals, you're fine, negative 24, so you add those together. You're fine. Then to get rid of the negative 2, you divide it away. All right, divide both sides by negative 2. These go away, so you get root 24x equals negative divided by negative gives you a positive 12. Then to undo the square, or excuse me, to undo the square root, square both sides. Okay, these are going to drop, so the root cancels out the square. So 24x equals 12 squared. 12 times 12 is 144. Then to get rid of the the x, to get x by itself, divide both sides by 24. And that should give you a nice whole number of 6. So x equals 6. I only have, well, I have 3 more, sorry. Okay, next thing we're going to do is rational exponents. Okay, so rational, remember that word means fraction. So rational exponents. Rational exponents are going to look just like this. So 2x to the 3/2 power equals 16. First thing you want to do here is get rid of the 2, because the 2 is attached by multiplication. So divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. These go away. We get x to the 3/2 power equals 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now, to get rid of a fraction power, you have to take it to the reciprocal power. So the reciprocal power here is each side to the 2/3. So reciprocal of 3/2 would be 2/3. The 3/2 and 2/3 basically cross each other out to be a 1. So we're going to get x by itself. Then for this side, you just need to rewrite it in power handle. So underneath the radical is the 8. Okay, put it in the parentheses, power of 2, handle number of 3. And these are going to be nice numbers. You're not going to get any like super weird stuff. So cube root of 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4 as an answer. And that's your answer. So again, like I said, really, really nice numbers. Okay, 2 more. Number 5. Let's try 16x raised to the 3/4 plus 44 equals 556. 16x to the 3/4 power plus 44 equals 556. So undo the easiest thing first. So start by subtracting the 44. Subtract the 44. We still have 16 and x raised to the 3/4, excuse me, equals, do your subtraction, borrow and carry if you need to. That gives you 512. To undo this, since this is around the whole thing, you actually have to undo the power now. So reciprocal power is 4/3. Both sides to the 4/3 power. These will go away to become a 1. And we got 16x equals, rewrite this in power handle. So 512 underneath the radical, power of 4, handle of 3. We actually need to simplify that. So 16x equals the cube root of 512. It's on the chart in the back. That's 8. It's going to be to the 4th power. Sorry, I'm kind of running out of room. So we got 16x equals 8 to the 4th. You can multiply it out, or I can just tell you it's 4,096. Then to get x by itself, divide both sides by 16. And if you divide both sides by 16, we get x equals 256. So they're a little bit bigger numbers, but they are okay still. Okay, last one. Last one is number 6. Okay, for this one, I'm going to give you x plus 1 equals root 7x plus 15. X plus 1 equals root 7x plus 15. Okay, this one has variables on both sides. So the first thing you actually have to do is get rid of the radical. So to get rid of the radical, you're going to square it. But if you square one side, you have to square the other side as well. So remember, anytime you write this, a binomial squared, you actually have to write it out twice. So x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals, this one, the radical cancels out the square. So we got 7x plus 15. This is a lot like what we did in unit 4. So FOIL these together, that gives you x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. Combine these like terms, so add together your x's. X squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. Then move everything to one side. So subtract the 7x and subtract the 15. Then you get x squared, minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. Factor and solve. Sorry. This is what happens when I record during the video announcements. So x minus 7, x plus 2. Split these up, you get 7 and negative 2. And you actually have to put these back in. Trust me, if you check this, 7 is the only one that works. So you do have to check by plugging in. Check by plugging in.